Hello and welcome to the bi-weekly meeting podcast for the OWASP Top 10 for Large Language Model Applications. If you'd like to stay up to date with our project, please click subscribe. And if you enjoy the content or have any questions, please feel free to comment and share. Now, on to our meeting.
All right, everybody, welcome to the October 23rd edition of the OWASP Top 10 for Large Language Models meeting. So thanks everybody for joining, if you're joining live or if you're watching on the recording later. I think this will be a relatively quick meeting, but we have a bunch of things to go over. Ads is here, but he's not on audio, which is fine. Okay, so yeah, we've got some things to go over. We're in the ramp down phases on what I will no longer call V2, which we will now call the 2025 version of the list. I think Scott ran a good discussion on that on the core team channel. And basically, we're going to release this right around the end of 2024. So we're just going to call it the 25 list so that it looks like it's the current one for all of next year. And I don't think we're planning on doing another revision for several months. So I think it's a good call. So let me go ahead and share the slides and we'll go roll through this. All right, here we go. So we have over the past few weeks been starting the ramp down on this 2025 version. We came up with a lot of entries. We went through voting. We went through a down selection. We did another vote. And we really, by the time we really got into the voting, we actually only had 11 entries left. I think when we were getting ready to start the voting, we had about 13 or 14, but things kind of coalesced and collapsed on their own. So we wound up with 11. So we only really needed to eliminate one entry to get us down to 10, but there was actually a lot of work that we had to do. So one of which was Krishna did a lot of work, some at my request, to continue to tune up the RAG entry. RAG was just seen as a really important topic early in the discussions. We said we were going to put more focus on it, and then as of that last round, we still did not have that level of focus. So Krishna drafted a RAG entry. It did get some good solid votes, but we decided it was rather long and there was a lot of overlap with some of the other entries, in particular with prompt injection and indirect prompt injection. So we narrowed it down very specifically to some of the issues around vector databases, embeddings. I think there's a new version of that just in the last couple of days that I think is getting to be quite good. Ads had put together a late entry on what we called backdoor attacks. That was one when we looked at it. Again, it was solid. It received some good voting. But ultimately, there was a lot of overlap between the backdoor entry and the data poisoning entry. So we simply lifted some of the backdoor stuff, moved it into data and model poisoning. And I think that's the good place for it to live. And that gets us down to 10 entries. The team, Aditya in particular, did a substantial rework on what was called system prompt leakage. Again, there's some overlap with some of the other ones, but this was one of the highest voted of all of the entries. And so we really want to make sure that we got a version of this in. It's really sharpened up. I think it's a good addition to the list. Every entry lead has submitted some cleanups and improvements on their entries since the last round of voting. And based on that, we were able to use the last round of voting to do the ranking. Unless something really serious comes up, I believe this will be the ranking for the 2025 top 10 list. So not surprisingly, some of the ones that are at the top are carryovers. But we have some items on the list that are really substantially new, like system prompt leakage and the vector and embeddings, and a couple which are substantial reworks, which is misinformation, which was reworked from over-reliance, and unbounded consumption, which is a rework and expansion of denial of service. So I feel pretty good about where we are with this. Anybody want to add questions or comments at this point? So the close down schedule here. We're going to continue to look at all of the top 10 entries now as the final pull requests on those come in. It's going to be less now about evaluating the individuals. It's just making sure the document hangs together as a whole. We may be looking for, if there are additional areas of overlap or conflict, we may want to resolve those. The other thing we'll be doing is looking at things like style and layout. If Scott's ever managed to get logged in, he can talk about it in a bit, but Scott's also commissioned a firm to work on a new graphical layout for our documents. So we'll be trying to roll that in as well. Target date for getting this out, if everything holds together and goes according to plan, is November 4th. That's a Monday. So we have a few updates here from some of the leads. I'm sure this is Scott. Scott, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
there you go. You're up.
All right. Yeah, so like Steve said, we are also separately from this doing some work to come up with some new design language for the document. So that's in process right now, and we'll get that. It's also designed to kind of take advantage of the fact that we obviously have been leading with the top 10 list, but we've also had a lot of other assets that the group is developing. So we'll have a kind of common language for all of our documents as they kind of come out kind of going forward. I just want to give here just a quick update on the solutions catalog. So right now we have a little over 40 solutions that are currently listed, and these are a combination of open source solutions and commercial solutions. We had some great contributions from a lot of both individuals and companies who've now jumped in and added their solutions to this. Both Meta had added the Purple Llama and the rest of their portfolio in here, as well as Cisco has added theirs in, as well as a lot of our partners from a startup side. So it's starting to shape up very nicely, and I think it's going to be a good resource. But if you do have any additional ones that you want to check out, you can go to the link there, use the QR code to add any, and we'll do the cleanup on the back end to make sure we have them all consolidated. So if you have a solution that maps to the top 10, especially since we're kind of a little bit on a combination of what we're doing with the 2025 version, and this is currently based on the 2024 version. Anything you have, please add it in there. I think it's just going to be a good resource going forward. So we're getting some good traction there. I did want to mention we did, as I think I brought up in a previous call, we did bring on a PR agency to kind of help us get the communications out. We've got a lot of things going on. We've got basically, as we've looked into the next few months at the end of the year, we've kind of come up with 3 basic themes. One, in October, we're talking about going beyond the top 10 with our initiatives and solutions, and that's getting the deep fake stuff out, more of the solution stuff, the COE stuff. So there's a lot of content that we're going to be communicating there. They're being helpful with us to both make sure we're putting together the right story, and they're doing the outreach for us to a lot of the press and analysts, and are going to be setting up calls and briefings over the next few weeks for October, and then obviously November will come right around the corner, and we'll do some of that as well. So some of you may get pulled into these if you're a lead in one of the particular areas. We may ask you to come in and contribute to a call or so, but I'll let you know ahead of time. And then lastly, in December, we're evaluating putting together a virtual event hosted by the project. So this would be a project virtual event where we would highlight the 2025 new list, and then we would also have sort of a breakout where we go into the other assets and resources that the community is putting together. So stay tuned on that, and I'll have more details probably in our next call.
So Scott, with the stuff coming in October, and that we're already well into October,
Yep.
is there actually something that's going to happen this month on the PR front?
Yeah, there's a PR that's going to go out, as well as the several blogs. So that I have in review today from the PR team, and I'll show that over for you so you can have a look at that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, unfortunately, because we started them at the beginning of October, we were kind of already into October. So we're trying to, move as quickly as we can to get everything ramped up.
Yeah, I'm less worried about the absolute speed. It's just making sure we all know it's coming so we can get everybody lined up to support the announcements as they come out.
Yeah, and we'll do coordination outreach there. So make sure that we're organizing around what we're doing around the social media outreach. We're also pulling together a number of our existing sponsors that have come on board, and we want to partner with them to kind of amplify our announcements as well.
Yeah.
And
when are we doing the announcement of the sponsored program?
it was going to go in November along with the top 10 list.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you see here, you'll see I don't know why this is a slightly different version than I have, but that's okay. So in November, it would be actually the 2025, the top 10 list, and then also the sponsorship program.
Okay.
Just a quick update on the web stats. Continue to see consistent growth. Our web presence, we need to do some more work to get that up a little bit more. And I think things like the PR that we're going to do, as well as the 2025, is going to help that as well. There's some refreshes that came through. Some of you have been outreach to on that for specifically the initiatives area. We're breaking that down so each initiative has its own section so that we can have both the background initiative and then all the assets can be made available there to make it easier for people to find it.
This is a quick update on the newsletter. We will publish a special edition just on version 225 with the relevant commentary, of course. The red teaming initiative is progressing. I do want to thank the people, thank everybody. Lot of interesting comments and thoughts and ideas are being shaped. A couple of things on the red teaming side. There is an evaluation work that Scott you were talking about, and there is also a CTF work with ads. These are a couple of things in the works, depending on how they shape.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. So I had a good conversation last night, and I sent this in the core team with CSA, the Cybersecurity Association of Singapore, and they've done a great job starting to put together a testing guide around LLMs, and they've provided, they walked through it with me last night. And then we also have Snack, who's put together and sent us their testing guide that they're using with their customers. And so we can use those as both inputs and start to do some collaboration around that. I'll set up a meeting next week and with the folks who want to participate in that so we can get everybody aligned on sort of the next things. So
that'll be good. Count me in.
Reach out to me. I know, Krishna, I've already got you targeted for that, of course.
Thank you.
But,
and also the documents so that we can add more things to it. Thank you. Anyway, beautiful work.
Yep.
Beautiful work. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all what I have. Yeah.
Morning, everyone. Just hands down to all the work that's been done. Now that we have a clear view on the top 10 for 2025. So what I will be doing is updating all the mapping that I've done to the previous top 10, and I'll update for the new entries and just fresh that up so we can also have the mappings to our new top 10s, and just using how organized Scott is making our website on the initiatives front, and add all of that information organized in a well manner that people can find where things are, and the data sets that are publicly available, just having a list there where people can relate to. And also I'll be working on some Python coding so people can test the mapping that I'll be doing against their environments over our top 10. And I just start drafting a white paper with some data security best practices. So then we have a consolidated document as well on the data gathering front to provide as another initiative. So just everyone just hop in and help us just see if we're missing anything, if anything needs to be added, and yeah, so that's the plan.
Okay, that's it for the slides for today. Does anybody else have business that they want to bring up to the group? Okay, just to wrap up for today, I think this is a pretty exciting period for the project between now and the end of the year. You kind of see it from Scott's slides, but we will have the new version of the core list. We'll have the solutions guide, the deep fake guide. I know Sandy's working on updating the CISO checklist. There's the red teaming project. There's a lot of stuff coming together and coming out of this group, which is really impressive. So I think by wrapping up the core top 10 list, that will allow us to keep the group front of mind out in the community and then really focus on a lot of this enhanced guidance coming out of the team for the next several months. So thanks everybody for chipping in. It's a great time to be involved in the project. Thank you all. See y'all soon. Bye.
Thanks for checking out our bi-weekly meeting podcast. If you'd like to stay up to date on all of the latest news for the OWASP Top 10 for large language model applications, please click subscribe. And of course, we'd appreciate it if you'd share with a friend to grow our community. We'll see you in 2 weeks.